Alright guys, so very interesting video today. For the last couple of days, I did a lot of testing on multiple characters. When I say multiple characters, I mainly mean gold characters, because I wanted to see for myself which character was actually performing best in towers against bosses. So what I chose to do is to test them all with almost the same gear, the same talents, the same teams against the same boss fight, which is Lin Kuei 130. Why I chose it? Because one of the characters has a saving mechanism, Sub-Zero, so I can track very accurately when I kill him. And the second thing is the fight has boss classic smoke, which is a little bit tricky to kill. He can blind you. So I reckon this is the best opportunity to showcase to all of you that damage is not always better than utility. Or in other words, if you approach a fight in a way that reduces your damage but increases your utility in terms of power generation, in terms of, let's say, resistance to the buffs, then you will outperform yourself if you decide to do the same, but you only go balls to the wall full damage. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to showcase what happened when I compared the same fight between Combat Cap Johnny Cage and Lizard Baraka. The very first thing you will notice is that Combat Cap Johnny Cage has more attack. He's fusion 15, so he has 5 fusions advantage above Baraka. And I gave them both this particular gear set because it increases their power generation, critical hit chance, and more or less that's it. And block breaking, and all of those guys need those things. They all need chances to break block, they all need power generation, and they are both using special 1, even though Baraka can also use special 2. Now, the first fight that you are currently seeing is very interesting because they are both going to kill Sub-Zero pretty fast. Johnny is first. It just took him 10 seconds to kill Sub-Zero. That's impressive. While Baraka took 12. However, what's happening next is super interesting. I chose this because you will witness how both characters start struggling once they had to deal with smoke. Reason being, they got blind. However, Baraka has a huge advantage over Johnny when it comes to blind. Why this is the case? Because Baraka generates power over time, Johnny doesn't. So, in a way, Baraka doesn't have to hit smoke, to get power, while Johnny absolutely has to. And on top of everything, Baraka has unblockable special too, and Johnny doesn't. So Baraka is already finished. It is 1.08, while Johnny keeps struggling, and eventually he's going to kill Smoke or get him below 200k, because this is what I understand when I say killing the last boss if he drops below 200k. This was only for the purpose of the test. Anyway, Johnny took 1 minute and 5 seconds, so ultimately he was slower than Baraka. Now let me show you another test, because I did multiple fights. It wasn't just one fight, guys. I did multiple fights. And why I chose Lizard Baraka and Johnny, because Lizard Baraka in my opinion has much more utility, and you can see that in action. So attempt number 2, Baraka took 1 minute and 46 seconds to kill the first boss, and Johnny was again faster by 1 second, but still faster. However, what happened afterwards is Baraka started to catching up, and he got blind at some point. But it doesn't really matter that much, because Baraka can do special 2, which is unblockable, and because Baraka is generating passive power, which Johnny doesn't. In the end of the day, Baraka finishes the last boss with 1.26, while Johnny finishes the last boss with 1.20 left on the clock. So generally speaking, Baraka again performed faster. And now let's see something different. Let's see what happens if Johnny doesn't struggle. What we mean by that is, in the previous fight, Johnny got lucky because he resisted the blind, while Baraka, again having 50% resistance to the buffs, didn't. So what's going to happen if we make sure that Johnny is blind immune? How we are doing that? By introducing the other Johnny to the field. So we're going to replace Sonya with classic movie Johnny Cage, and we will try the same fight. Again, side by side. Baraka finishes the first boss really slow, because this time we made an amendment to his gear. We just used Soul Medallion as an accessory, so it took him 17 seconds. We are mainly spamming special 2, while Johnny finished the first boss in 13 seconds. And again, after that, Johnny is still not really catching up to Baraka. Why is that? Reason number 1, Johnny has lower critical hit chance. Baraka has 25% critical hit chance increase by virtue of his passive. Johnny doesn't have that, so he needs to get that from somewhere, for some item or character, while Baraka doesn't have to do that. And the second thing, Johnny lost this time because he had to sacrifice damage to utility. Once again, for Baraka, this isn't really that important. He can still spam special 1 or special 2 even while being blinded. And Johnny already saw how much he struggled while trying to hit the enemy, because he cannot generate power without making a hit. And since he made the hit, it's impossible for him to finish the fight faster. And he's even exposed to actually getting killed in that fight. And that's not really great. At the end of the day, if we compare the average numbers, Baraka performed faster generally, while Johnny performed faster when it comes to killing the first boss. So this is what I mean when I say utility can be damaged. Johnny Cage is a character that has 15 fusions and he has more attack than Baraka. However, he lacks unblockable special attack, he lacks the passive power generation. So if he in a position where he's going to get blinded all the time, he needs to take precautions. He needs to make sure that he's blind immune. How he does that? By sacrificing damage. While if you have this utility already in you, like Lizard Baraka, you don't have to do that. But at the end of the day, Johnny Cage didn't suffer that much. He completed the fight 23 seconds faster while he had lower damage but was blind immune. And this is the thing I wanted to showcase with you. Not always go for the damage. Sometimes having resistance to the buff, sometimes having better power generation will make sure that you are going to perform faster and better in the fight. The very best time Johnny Cage had in this fight was 40 seconds, and this is because he got lucky and resisted the blind. If he got blinded, it was game over for him. However, if he is blind immune, he performed for on average 1.18 seconds and did 2 attempts with him, and he performed 1.80 seconds on both. So we can assume that he can kind of repeat the same time if he is always immune to blind, which is super important. By the way, guys, once again, I did this testing with multiple characters. I believe 7 or 8 so far. They were all gold. So if you want me to test who is better in boss fights in this particular setup, please let me know in the comment section. I am going to review the results, the full results of my findings, probably in a couple of weeks time, because it's going to be a huge video with a lot of editing. I'm going to be honest, I was extremely impressed by certain characters and I was extremely disappointed by other characters, but generally speaking, I really had fun while making this test because there was nothing else to do in the game at the moment, so it was really a fun experience for me. Once again, if you want me to do testing of some specific gold character that you think I didn't test already, for your information, I already tested Hanzo, Hasashi, Classic Jade, I tested Lizard Jade and so on. So if you have some, let's say, underrated character that you know that is absolute beast against bosses, please let me know and I'm going to test him. Alright guys, this is going to be all for me for today. See you next time and have an amazing rest of your day.
Perfect.